We have to be a little careful with the volume. They don't want us to project too loudly, but can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? In the back. All right, maybe we need this, maybe we don't.
Oh, that's perfect.
Is that better? Okay, I just need to be a little closer to it. Okay, well, first off, thank you to Dara and Arcus for putting this on, for having me here. As she said, I've known you guys for many, many years. You've always been a pillar of the San Diego tech and startup ecosystem. So thank you so much for everything you do. You know, these folks have, yeah, round of applause for Arcus, thank you. And thank you to everybody who's come tonight. I only know a couple, actually surprising. I thought I would know more people here. But I'm a longtime veteran of the San Diego tech community. I used to be very embedded in the CTO community here. And then a little thing called COVID happened and we all dispersed. And this is actually my first time giving a talk in meet space. And so it's really great to see everybody here again and to give me your time tonight. So what I'm going to talk about today is a journey that I experienced throughout my career and I'm sure is familiar to many of you, and that is how we have to evolve and grow as CTOs and as leaders as we go through the different stages of growth in our company. So please take a seat. I'll scooch back a little bit. So I'm an engineer at heart. I've been coding since I was a little kid. I was a nefarious hacker when I was a teenager. You know, saw the error of my ways, maybe. Worked my way up the engineering leadership track, became a CTO. Then I had a very severe experience with burnout. Quit my job when my kids were very little and leaned on something that was very familiar to me, which was consulting and coaching primarily CTOs and engineering teams. So I've been working with engineering teams, leading them, helping them thrive and grow and be effective for over 15 years. So about 5 years ago, go back. So about 5 years ago, I started a coaching business. Started off doing CTO coaching, agile coaching, then it became product coaching and executive coaching, and I've sort of put it all under this umbrella where I work with CTOs, CPOs, CEOs at kind of early to growth stage companies, help them find product market fit, build really strong, effective teams, and get to scale. I have a podcast called Chaos to Clarity, where I talk to successful executives about the chaos of growing tech companies, and I have a startup accelerator by the same name where I work with founders and help them get the product market fit. Wrote a book, so on and so forth, got a couple websites you guys can check out. You can click it. So, by the way, there's going to be a bunch of eye charts and stuff in here you're probably not going to be able to read because this talk is usually done on Zoom. So don't worry about it. I'm going to send you, if you connect with me afterwards, I'll send you all the slides and everything will be good. So the role of the CTO is, in my opinion, the... Just roll into it. It's all good. All good. I hope you don't mind. Hope you don't mind. The role of the CTO, in my opinion, is the most complex, multifaceted role in the organization, right? It's hard to be a CEO, it's hard to be a CMO, et cetera, but there's no other role that requires such a diverse skill set of hard skills and soft skills, and that changes so dramatically as your company grows, right? What the demands on us as not only innovation executives, as operators, as managers, as recruiters, and ultimately as strategic leaders is second to none. So, you know, we're expected to be down in the engine room, shoveling coal, keeping the lights on, right, fending off hackers, et cetera, but also to be up in the ivory tower, innovating and pushing the tip of the spear forward. And that's really hard, and it creates a lot of burnout. Next slide. So, in the early days, it's simple. Build fast and ship. Deliver on the product, get the MVP, get traction, get funded, okay, up and up we go. But as your company grows, things get more complicated, right? We have to become better leaders. We have to develop repeatable process. We have to hire a great team, build a great culture, become emotionally intelligent. We have to fend off hackers, manage a budget, manage an ever-increasing mountain of technical debt, manage airplanes, yeah, become a better communicator, and
Technical debt.
yeah, Southwest, exactly, right? These guys, at least they're up in the sky again. Actually, that would have been nice if they.
Tell them why the airport is here.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, and it gets more and more complicated as the company grows. And so, in my experience, as I'm growing in this role, I'm asking my CEO, I'm asking my investors and my team, like, what do I need to be focusing on? This is crazy. This is too much. And the answer is everything, all at once. Well, obviously that's impossible. If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority, and that's a recipe for burnout. So I went looking for a model. I went talking to others in my community and trying to understand, what kind of leader do I need to be at this stage and the next stage and so on. And nobody had a really good answer, or just everyone gave me a different answer. So I went on a a quest to create a maturity model for the CTO role that I'm going to share with you here today. Okay, so this was me. This is a picture of me back when I was a CTO. So when we're trying to be all things to all people at all times, we create a lack of clarity, a lack of focus, a lack of time, and a lack of energy, which results in a lack of team cohesion and a lack of alignment and a lack of motivation and progress, which ultimately leads to burnout. And as I said, this happened to me. I quit my job. I took a sabbatical. I spent 4 months up in the mountains, soul searching, trying to determine who the hell I wanted to be and how I wanted to approach life. Came down from the mountain with one principle. This is personal. I will never let my work take precedence over my health or my family again. So that's been my mission as an executive coach ever since, is to try to help all of you, I'm sure, are incredibly busy, stressed out, with demanding lives, but it is possible to do it and still keep your sanity and keep your relationships. So that's my mission. Okay, so what do we want instead? What would be nice? What would be amazing if we could have clarity on our roles and responsibilities. If we could have clarity on our roles and responsibilities, focus on what matters most, have control over our time and the ability to perform deep work, to have a team of trusted superstars to support us, to have goals that we're aligned to that motivate and inspire us, have alignment with our counterparts and our strategy, to be able to invest in continuous improvement, learning and discovery, and still have time and energy for our health and our hobbies and our relationships. Does that sound crazy to you guys, or does that seem... It sounds awesome, right? Hell yeah, let's do it. So what does it take? So here's the model of how you need to evolve as a CTO, or a way to evolve as a CTO. And I created this model in my experience as a product manager, actually, and a UX designer, a product designer. I created a set of personas and a journey map as the CTO evolves through different stages of growth. So again, here's the eye chart. Don't try to read it. Connect with me afterwards. I'll send you the slides. But we start out in the startup stage. We're the hacker. Our job is, again, build fast and ship. We got to get the MVP out there, get traction, right? Get to product market fit. Hold on. Now I'm going to slow down a little bit. And wait for the slides. Wait for the airplane. So at the beginning stage, it's just us, right? Us and our co-founder, maybe a really small team, and we are responsible for everything. We wear all the hats. We have to do all the things. So we are going through an enormous amount of context switching, right? Which is very difficult and frustrating. We have an extreme lack of clarity around who is our customer, what problem are we trying to solve, what is this product actually going to look like, right? We're context switching, that's exhausting. There's nobody to support us. We have to do everything ourselves. We're Atlas with the world on our shoulders. And there's no feedback loops, because it's going to be at least a few months until we get this product out in the market, so we don't even know if what we're doing is working, and basically we're getting exhausted. So what it takes to evolve out of this stage and get to this next level, what's going to make or break a CTO at this stage is not about how fast you can really build, but how well you can innovate, right? How creative you can be, because when you're building a startup, this is something, you're solving a new problem, or solving something in a new way, right? If this was boilerplate, it would have been done already. So you need to be able to be innovative, to have that clarity of mind, right? And that mental space to be innovative and solve a new and exciting problem, right? So we have to say no to a lot of things. We have to make some really tough sacrifices and focus on what's really important, which is solving a pain in the market. All right, we got to get that solution out there. We got to gain traction, see that it works, get that signal, and avoid burnout along the way. But at this stage, we're super tactical. We're really focused on operations at this point. So we start to head towards product market fit. We gain traction. We start to achieve some growth. And entering the growth stage, we become what I call the executioner, where your focus is about executing effectively and finding repeatable success, right? Building something that can last and maybe can scale. Maybe it's not ready to scale now, but we're evolving towards that point at which we can scale up. So at this point, we're starting to establish process. Again, finding things that work and say, okay, let's codify that and create some system and structure around that, right? We're starting to develop some architecture, some DevOps, some things to create efficiency, okay? And more important than anything at this stage is hiring our team of A players, right? Our initial squad that are actually going to grow and become our VPs off in the future. So even in the early stages of growth, we think our role is to build a product, but it's actually to build a team. And this is the key pitfall that most CTOs, I don't like to generalize, but I'm going to do it. I guarantee that most people in this room, to some degree, is overemphasizing the tech and underemphasizing the team. That's just what plagues us at this stage. We still are in this individual contributor mode, right? We don't spend enough time and energy on hiring the right people and creating a team culture that makes them thrive. Okay, so obviously we're doing all this while we're still trying to find product market fit. But we're still dealing with a lack of clarity, right? And this is a theme. Clarity at where we are now and where the next stage is always going to be a continuing problem. It just changes. So at this stage, we might understand our customer and the problem we're solving, but we still are trying to figure out what the solution is to meet that product market fit. And we're kind of trying to figure out a strategy at this point. We might be looking more than a few sprints ahead. We still are dealing with a lack of focus. We're context switching all over the place, and we're struggling with a lack of repeatable success. And this is also where rework really starts to come and bite us, because whatever scrappy solution we built in the startup phase is starting to fail, or maybe it's obsolete at this point. So now we're having to go over familiar ground and now rebuild something to last. And that's actually where the architecture becomes so important. Because if you didn't do architecture from the ground up, you're having to retrofit architecture so you can swap out implementation as you grow so you can scale up quickly, right? And obviously, again, difficulty hiring A players. So what's going to get you to the next level, to product market fit and ultimately growth, is starting to develop yourself as a leader, to communicate clearly, to start to think about strategy, to start managing across, right? Managing the relationships in the C-suite, being able to attract and hire and retain great talent, and again, investing in that scalable architecture. So if everything goes well, and you make it to that inflection point, that scale point, where you hit product market fit, you will unlock scale. So you hit the scaling point, and this is what I call the gravity well, right? So in the growth stage, the growth happens in fits and starts, and it's through effort. You're pushing this boulder up a hill. And when you reach product market fit, that's like you've hit the top of the hill, and that boulder starts rolling downhill. And you start attracting growth. You start attracting customers. You start attracting employees. You start attracting talent. But this presents its own set of challenges. Because what happens when that boulder starts rolling downhill is it rolls faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And so linear growth, or flat linear growth, turns into exponential growth. And this is where fundamentally all of your systems and all of your processes are going to break. They're going to explode, right? How you hire people, your interfaces, your databases, right? Your software development practices, your infrastructure, everything you do is going to have to be fundamentally rebuilt from the ground up in a way that it scales inherently, right? That it in and of itself is something that can be instantiated infinitely and scales inherently without you essentially being the bottleneck. So at this stage, as a CTO, you have to pull yourself completely out of the day-to-day, out of the management, and focus on being a purely strategic leader. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that you're having to clone yourself. You're having to develop leadership within your team, right? Sorry, could I? You're getting in my ear and it's kind of distracting. I apologize. I'm trying. There's a lot of voices here. I'm trying to keep my train of thought. Right. So now we have to develop leadership within our team. So that early A squad that we hired, now we have to develop them into engineering managers and VPs. Right. We have to build processes and systems that scale. We have to become more data-driven in our decision making, but also support our counterparts in the business to become data-driven. Right. We have to build teams that are autonomous and that can be highly efficient and effective without our direct oversight. This is what I call the team factory design pattern. So just like, everyone familiar with the factory design pattern? All right, so we create a blueprint, we can instantiate it infinitely and get a similar kind of result, right? So this is where we start creating blueprints and playbooks for our teams so that as we create this pipeline of really great talent, that they will automatically form highly effective teams. Again, without us having to be involved in every single one of them. It's hard, right? So at this stage, we're struggling again with a lack of clarity, but now it really is lack of clarity, not our lack of clarity, but our team's lack of clarity. Now they need to understand, wait, where do I fit in all this, right? What's my part, right? Or how do I interact with all these other departments or parts of the team? How does my work impact the customer, right? What's the meaning of my work, right? All this stuff you have to align and communicate. Lack of alignment. So this is what I call the coordinator role, right? Where your job is, it's not about building, it's not about executing, it's about orchestrating, coordinating, right? Groups of people. So it becomes less about you and more about enabling and empowering your team. So this is also the point where there's a fork in the road, there's a split, where you have to decide, am I going to be the innovator CTO, or am I going to be the leader CTO? And you either need to hire a VP of engineering and go off into your kind of R&D lab and continue to work on whatever the next stage of innovation is, or you have to evolve as a leader and develop your business acumen, your communication, et cetera, and hire principals and architects and so on and so forth to fill in the top level engineering responsibilities. Okay. So delegating is hard no matter what, but it gets really hard at this stage because when you're in the growth stages, you're delegating the stuff that you don't want to do so that you can spend time doing what you like to do, which is coding. We want to go code. But this is the stage where you have to delegate the things that you actually enjoy doing. And the hardest thing that I found for CTOs to do at this stage is to really let go of their passion, which is software development, and really lean into organizational development, leadership, right, and the challenges of scaling up a business. And so, you know, folks are still tactical, still in the weeds, still have their fingers in all these pies. So extracting yourself, letting go, you know, not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good is the name of the game at this stage, right? And now scale is a very long tail. It's a very long timeline. But the better you get at communicating and storytelling, translating the vision and the strategy of the company into what does it mean for technology, right? How can we leverage technology to enable the business and enable the vision and the strategy, right? How can we spot trends far out in the market, new technologies, and use that to gain competitive advantage, right? This is what it means to be a strategic CTO. Oh boy.
Ready, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. I always have to say, this is probably the most vibrant and exciting, I was say, John, the most vibrant and exciting talk I've ever given. You guys are great. You guys are chilling, paying attention, just like I'd expected. Yeah. So at this stage, we're developing our business acumen, right? It's not good enough to be a good coder. It's not even good enough to be a good engineering leader. We have to understand, how does marketing and sales impact technology and vice versa, right? How can we present the technology strategy at the board level or to investors, right? So we now have to become really a full member of the C-suite and bring the lens of technology to all the other challenges in the business. Because by this point, engineering probably has its shit together better than anybody else. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but we are the ones that have been the most process-driven and data-driven since the beginning, hopefully. We're the ones that are tracking our burn down, and we're the ones that are mapping out our workflows, and we're the ones that are doing the sprints and the retrospectives and the continuous improvement. So usually, by this stage, the engineering team is the one that's humming along and leveraging technology to scale and to scale up. Whereas other parts of the business, they're probably still working on spreadsheets, and they're these guys, right? They're still leveraging spreadsheets. They might pick some SaaS tool, but don't really know why or how it's really going to fit into the business. So now we become more like a consultant, a technology consultant to the rest of the business. Well, that means our engineering team needs to be completely, fully on rails, which means we need to now have not just engineering managers, but directors and VPs who fully own the engineering business, right? Okay, so say this all works out, we're incredibly successful, we get big. Can you hold? Huh.
DevOps on the previous slide.
Yeah.
Why you have to do all this work, getting other parts of the business on spreadsheets. When are you DevOps?
They're consulting, right? So at this stage of the game, you're DevOps, you basically, again, you're developing tools, you're probably developing internal business processes or business applications, et cetera, to help the whole company scale. Again, it's not just about the product. All right, let's move on. So, super successful, company blows up, you get to the enterprise. All right, you're a $1 billion company. Maybe you're on your way to IPO, something like that, right? Again, another huge leap forward. But now, and in fact, I'd be surprised if one person makes this entire journey, that a startup CTO is going to make it all the way to the enterprise, but it happens. Is there anybody here who is a CTO of a large enterprise? Probably not. So just a little kind of context and sort of see how the evolution continues to change. Now you become even more removed and more abstract, and I like to think of it like you're a general at this stage, right? You are so far removed from the battlefield, it's a map, and you've got those little pieces that you're moving around, right? And so you're not even engaging in the teams anymore. You're all driven by dashboards, and you're driven by your lieutenants. So your role is completely by proxy, right, or by delegation or by trust, with VPs that are driving these business units. And you've got your sort of view of the battlefield with all of your data and all of your reports, and you're just seeing, okay, well, where's the performance? Is everything humming along? Is everything moving? Or is there anywhere I need to dive in? If I need to dive in, well, I'm not going to go sit in those meetings. I'm going to bring my VP, and we're going to strategize together and figure out, okay, how do we solve this problem? Now, I'm off looking at what's in the future. What companies are we going to acquire? Who's going to acquire us? What big macro level market trends are going to be happening here? How do we merge entire companies and teams and databases and technology stacks together? These are the kind of things that I'm thinking about at an enterprise level. All right, I'm going to just skip ahead because this probably isn't as relevant to you guys. So let's keep going. All right, so cool. That's the model, right? And again, I'm happy to share the slides and discuss this further with anybody who wants to. But how do we go from where we are today to where either we need to be now or to the next level? So I've got a tool for that. So the first thing, the concept here is we have to assess where we are, we have to prioritize where we need to change, and then we need to execute and evolve. And then in a cycle. In an agile cycle, we need to continually assess, prioritize, and adapt in our role. Yeah, go ahead. So this is a method I call the delegate and elevate method. And so this was something that, back in the old days, like before COVID, BC, we would do this on a whiteboard with stickies. Now we do it in Miro. But basically, I've got this chart here. On the x-axis, we have where you are spending your time and energy and focus. And on the y-axis is what your company needs from you right now, right? So what we do is we write down, we brain dump. What are all the things that you're responsible for? All the tasks, all the areas of responsibility, all the areas where you keep getting called on and pulled in, right, where the buck stops with you. And then we kind of lay them out and say, well, where are you spending your time? Like, let's open up your calendar. Let's actually see, like, how often is this stuff coming up? And then we assess, well, what does the company need from us? What does our team need from us? What do our customers need from us? What does our C-suite need from us at this stage in the game? And this is usually where I'll bring in those counterparts, right? We'll get that 360 feedback, and we'll actually let them identify some blind spots, right? And calibrate, well, where were we off? So we'll do it first, and then we'll see, well, CEO, come in here, move some things around, and there's an aha moment there that, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about a thing that they think is important, or I think the company needs it here, but it's actually there, or whatever. Okay, so we do that, and then we've got these red blocks here. In the bottom right corner, we have the areas where we're spending a lot of time and energy, but our company doesn't need it. And those are areas for delegation. Those are the things we got to get off of our plate. And in the upper left corner, we have the things that our company needs from us, where we're not spending our time. Those are our areas to elevate. So we pick a couple targets. We throw a star on one or two of them every quarter, and we create a leadership development plan. How are we going to delegate those things over the next month, make space, and invest time into grow in those areas, set some clear success criteria. What does it mean to be able to move a sticky from the top left to the top right, all right? And then we execute, and then we assess again a quarter later. And then we actually put it in practice. So again, another eye chart here, but this is what I call the calendar control system, where we take that ideal and we say, all right, where should I be spending my time? I should be spending 40% of my time on hiring, 20% of my time coding, 20% of my time, dealing with or working with my counterparts in the C-suite, 20% doing one-on-ones, whatever it is, right? We map that out and we say, okay, where do those blocks of time need to fit on my calendar so that I ensure that I'm actually spending and putting my money where my mouth is, right? So, can't read it here, but I've got these blue blocks of deep work. And that's just something that you block out every single day. That's like sacred time. Nobody can touch it. There's no meetings, nobody can bother you. You go on do not disturb. And you decide what goes in those blocks every week. And it's the stuff, it's either delegation or it's the stuff in the top left, right? So I'm spending, in the previous slide, I said, all right, I need to focus on talent, security, managing the budget, and I got to delegate some things. So I am guaranteeing that I'm spending 2 hours a week with talent acquisition, 2 hours a week with security, and so on and so forth. So we map out the calendar, then life happens, right? And then we just continually assess, are we really spending our time in the right places? Are we getting distracted? Are we letting our calendar pull us around by the leash? Then you get to the end, you say, oh my God, I didn't grow, I didn't complete what I wanted to. Well, where'd you spend your time, right? We know that, practice makes perfect. So this is the mechanism and the rhythm and the routine that's going to guarantee that you actually get the growth that you're looking for, right? Okay, so let's zoom out. What does it take to not only mature as a leader, but really become a rock star CTO? So I have one last framework for you guys. I'll pack in the value here, and I'll give you some free stuff. Not physical, but digital free stuff. So, go ahead. So I have something called the Rockstar CTO model. I'm a heavy metal guitarist. I'm playing guitar my whole life, so I like this analogy. So say you want to become like Metallica, right? Well, and let's say you're starting out, you got a band, I call it a motley crew, right? Not the band name, but what it really means, right? You've got this mixed bag of talent. But what you really need is you need a team of rock stars, right? You need high quality talent that are highly motivated and have a thriving culture. So you're not only attracting great talent, retaining great talent, but even creating a culture where even B players can become A players, right? So even the best talent, the best musicians are going to sound like shit if they're all playing out of key and playing to a different rhythm. So we don't want sloppy execution. We need to create a flawless performance. This is wild. So to have a flawless performance, we need to be truly agile. And I put truly here because I don't mean Scrum TM, right? I don't mean pull something off the shelf and cram it into your bullshit waterfall process, right? To be truly agile means to be autonomous, transparent, continuously improving, radical candor, that sort of thing, right? So to be truly agile, to be aligned within the team, aligned across teams, and aligned to the strategy, and scalable, right? So that the teams are scalable, the processes are scalable, the code is scalable, right? So that creates a flawless performance. But even the best musicians playing in rhythm are not going to make their fans happy if they came for a heavy metal show and you're playing polka music. So you got to give your fans what they want. So to create raving fans, you got to create an incredible product, an incredible experience. So it's got to be high impact, solving a big problem. It's got to be high quality, right? And it's got to create an extraordinary experience. So again, as you evolve as a CTO, it's not just about building code. It's not just about the technology. It's about working together with product, with design, with UX, with sales, with marketing, to really craft an incredible experience that solves a great problem for your customer. And that's what it takes to become a rockstar CTO and get to scale. Almost done, promise. Okay, so free stuff. Don't read it. So what do you do from here? I got a bunch of links. Connect with me. Connect with me after this. I'll have a QR code you can scan. I'll send you the links. I have a self-assessment for a CTO. Let you rank, score where you are, what you need to work on. A link to the Delegate and Elevate map so you can create your own. Work with your team, create a leadership development plan, create your goals, OKRs, right? Execute. Repeat this process every quarter. Go for it. I'm sure many of you can do it. But if you will realize it's hard. Life is hard, the job's hard. So if you need help, you can reach out and connect with me. Again, I'm just gonna pat my back a little bit. I'm the best goddamn CTO coach in the fucking world. Sorry, just kidding. Why not, right? Got a captive audience here. No, I love coaching CTOs. I'm a CTO myself. I'm one of the tribe. And I love helping you guys like actually reclaim some semblance of happiness and success in your life, and also help you build a great business. So connect with me, get more clarity, focus, productivity, and time. Yes, last slide. We made it. Woo! Okay, scan the QR code, connect with me on LinkedIn. There's some links and stuff here. Check out the podcast, whatever. And I'm here, so let's hang out. Cool? Thank you.